Welcome to another episode of the CarryTrainer Higher Line podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Higher Line podcast. I've got a friend, multiple CarryTrainer student, which is cool. Douglas Howard, retired Navy senior chief. We're going to talk today about all kinds of stuff. I got to remind you that these podcasts are brought to you by Gunfighter Gun Oil and Armored Coffee in my best radio voice. You're somewhere in a bunker in a basement, it looks like.
Yeah, I got my fallout shelter down here somewhere in Indiana.
You're in the heartland. Okay, Indiana. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. So you did 26 years in the Navy.
Yes.
26 years. What's up for the people that are not savvy, which I am not super savvy, although we've talked about this a bunch. What's a senior chief? What's a senior chief do?
Senior chief is pretty much, he is going to be, we have the chiefs, the senior chiefs and master chiefs in the Navy. Those are the top three of the Navy. The chief is going to be the person that is going to be responsible for taking care of the sailors. Senior chiefs are going to be the next higher level up for the rank, and then the master chiefs are going to be the top ranking senior enlisted personnel of the Navy. So you got your three ranks.
So what was day to day for you? I'm sure in most of those years you weren't a senior chief, but when you were, what was like day to day operations for what you did?
Well, the day to day operations for me, my last command that I was in, I basically worked for the division officer. Anytime the division officer took care of we were in charge of the avionics branch of where I worked at.
Okay.
We worked on aircraft components.
Were you on an aircraft carrier then?
No, I wasn't.
No.
I was stationed on an aircraft carrier once, but we were actually attached to a shore command. And the shore command, what we did was any type of electronics that came in that broke on an aircraft, they would send them to us and we would work on them.
I see.
So our actual division worked on those particular parts for a particular aircraft. And that aircraft that we worked on was P3 Orion, all those aircraft parts.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Avionics.
How many people reported to you?
We had 119 personnel that were attached to us.
Okay. I think that was one of the things that when you and I were talking at the last class we were at, down in Ohio? I think last summer, last fall, that nice warm day. You had a lot of good leadership isms, and that's what I said. Hey, we should talk about this on a podcast because you spent your life leading men. So, it's interesting. Like when somebody like us talking now, we're trying to recreate what was an interesting conversation a year ago. But I think we can get there. What makes a leader? Were you born one? Did you fall into the role? Was it a mixture of? Was it all the excellent leadership training that the Navy gave you? Did you read a bunch of self-help books at Barnes and Noble? Yeah. Google it.
Well, I definitely didn't. I definitely was not. Yeah, I definitely was not born a leader. With myself, I mean, I don't read a lot of books. With me, it was a lot of the leaders that I worked with. I had a lot of people that actually taught me a bunch of leadership skills. And then I also have a lot of people that I worked with that were horrible leaders that I learned from, that I did not want to be like them, which laid a track in my career. So most of it was, I had a whole bunch of leaders that were really great, that I took bits and pieces from their leadership skills. and molded myself as a leader to teach other people to be better individuals for themselves. And then there's a couple of people that were terrible leaders that actually I took bits and pieces of their horrible leadership skills, and I took that and I tried to stay away from doing that stuff in my military career. And also I looked out for other chiefs and officers that were doing those particular things, and actually tried to pull them aside and try to get them to move away from those particular leadership.
Give me an example. Give me an example.
Just talking down to sailors, saying one thing, doing the other, just uniform infractions, wearing bad uniforms, just out of regs.
So just not walking the walk, really.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll walk up to a sailor and then the sailor's uniform is messed up and their uniforms are all messed up, or they don't have a haircut and their haircuts are all messed up. So it's like they're just not leading by example.
You joined the Navy when?
1991.
So that's kind of still the olden days, right?
Yeah.
A little bit. Like there's not, I know, like that's not olden days for most people, but from what I'm told, from into the 2000s, huge changes happened culturally. Was it different being a black man in the 1990s, early 2000s to when you got out in the Navy? Because I know, like, we watch movies like what's the movie with about the diver with Cuba Gooding, where he was like the first black diver. You know the movie I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like you watch those movies and you're like, what the heck, man? This guy was like tortured and berated. And then he loses a leg and still goes back to work. And
throughout my military career, I've seen a lot of racism in my military career. I wasn't affected by a lot of it. I've seen a lot of people that were, but
was it because you weren't affected by it because it didn't touch you, or you weren't affected by it because you didn't let it affect you?
There's a couple of times where it did affect me,
Okay.
but then there's a lot of times I just didn't let it affect me. There's one, like for one example, I had one particular chief that was out to get me because in his mind, I wasn't black enough for him. And that was his sole mission to make
what does that even mean?
Well, it was, I didn't speak black. I wasn't talking Ebonics. In his mind, I wasn't black enough for him.
I see.
Because the way that I was raised, I was raised in Texas. I was, that's not the way that I was brought up.
How were you
raised? Way it was. Well, when I grew up, I was raised, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I didn't talk back to my parents at all. When I turned 19, I, left the house. I had respect for everything. I feared God. I feared that, if I got in trouble, I had to deal with the consequences of whatever it is that I did. My dad was military. My brother's law enforcement. My middle brother was in the military. So we had a big, huge military family, or a law enforcement family. So we grew up with a lot of discipline in the family. But it's I have no idea of what the particular setting of somebody's mind was on how I'm supposed to react or how I'm supposed to speak or be like in their mind. So, it was always an issue with this one particular person for me.
Was he was a superior to you?
Yeah, he was a chief and I was a first class at the time.
Okay.
So whenever,
how'd you deal with that? Push him off the boat?
Say again?
Just push him off the boat?
No, I wish that was one of my issues. I wish I could, but I couldn't. Because then, of course, I would have to deal with the consequences.
Of course, he's joking, you guys. So was I.
But, I just had to deal with it one day at a time. Of course, with him being my superior, I couldn't say nothing to him.
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything. All I could do was just, tell other people, tell my other chief or other officers at the time what was going on. But back then it was, you really couldn't get too much of anything out of it. Back then it was, chiefs really stood up for chiefs. They really didn't rat each other out, so to speak.
Towing a line.
Right.
You're saying that probably like any industry, the managers at Walmart probably stick up for each other, right? The middle managers at a corporation stick up for each other. I think that's probably indicative of people. Tribalism, right?
Yeah. They do stick up for each other, but
I'm saying when you're like the Chiefs are the Chiefs and the
correct. But
your little clique of dudes.
But it's a little bit different.
Okay.
There's like a brotherhood where you don't, I don't want to say tell on each other, but you stand up for your own, so to speak. But that wasn't something that I was really into. And that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to make chief as quick as possible, was to get that out of, to pretty much weed that out and cut that cancer out of the system.
Do you think you were effective in that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. On your boat or in the Navy? Because that's a pretty big organization.
Pretty much everywhere I went, that's what I focused on, was to make sure that didn't happen in a lot of places that I went to.
You get pushback from higher ups on that?
I got pushback from a lot of people on that.
Yeah.
I was always the one that was pretty much like, standing the wrong way on wood on everything. People didn't like it. I always.
You're lucky you didn't get pushed off the boat.
Well, yeah. People always, I always told people how it was. I didn't sugarcoat anything when it came to the way it was. I stood up for a lot of people. I stood up for a lot of my sailors. I stood up for what was right, what was wrong. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people didn't like it. I had a lot of commanding officers that, liked it. And I had a lot of chiefs that didn't like it. But, I did what I felt was right.
And you stood to it.
Yeah, I stood to it. If I'm wrong, I will admit it. If I'm right, I will go to my grave saying I'm right.
Would you go back and change anything about those years?
Probably not.
No? Good to go, huh?
Yeah.
Nice. I dig that. So you did 26 years. You're out. You've been out for just a few years, right?
Yes.
What are you doing with your time? Are you utilizing all that you gleaned from the U.S. government for 26 years to continue changing the world like you were trying to do there in the Navy?
Right now, I'm just retired. I'm trying to focus on myself right now and trying to live the best that I can without going back to work.
I like that. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the world. from a black man's perspective, a retired government employee perspective, that's it. That's enough perspectives. Yeah, let's hear it. What do you think? So you turn the news on, you see all the shit going down. What do you think?
I try not to get too super absorbed into it because I don't want to get. I try not to get too stressed out over anything.
I want to hear your viewpoint, though, because I keep having people tell me, and this might set some people off listening to this, like, I don't feel that because I'm white, I owe anybody an apology. Just because you're black, you owe anybody, like you said, dude said you're not black enough. Who the are you to say how I'm to live or be? You know, like what happens to judging people by their actions and their deeds? And I grew up in an area where it was pretty segregated. I'm in like rural farmland. There was very few people of color as a kid, but my parents were both South Side Chicago folks, and my dad was a minister, so there were always people at our house of different ethnicities, and so it was kind of burned into us that wasn't a factor to weigh people on skin pigmentation, which was always kind of such an obnoxious thing. But I'm having people send me messages and tell me, like, you don't get it, you're the problem. And I think, I don't know, man. Like, I really feel like I'm not the problem, but okay. Like, why do people feel that way? And I know you can't speak for anybody else, but
Whenever I post stuff on Facebook, I have to put a little disclaimer down at the bottom because I say this is the views of myself and not the views of other people. Because I always get pushback on a lot of stuff that I say.
Give me an example.
Where I live at, I am one of 2 black families in the whole town. Everybody else.
Do you feel like eyes bore into the back of your head at the grocery store?
Nope.
No.
I go running all the time from my house all the way up into town, all the way back. Nobody bothers me. I run through neighborhoods. Nobody bothers me.
Yeah.
And people constantly post stuff on Facebook that contradicts that.
So what I'm hearing is that I get a lot of people telling me you don't know how it is, and this may be the case for them. Everywhere I go, sideways looks, disdain, disgust, etc. What you're saying is that's not your experience,
right? And everybody is different. Everybody's experience is different, and everybody tells me, well, just because it doesn't happen to you, you're racist.
Mm-hmm. They call you racist.
Yeah, I've been called racist a couple of times.
By who?
Just people in general. And it's
so it makes you racist because you're not identifying and towing the line of what other people say.
Right. I don't identify with them.
That said, though, I do think that there is many racist people, not only in America, but in the world. But that term has become so, it's like saying crazy,
right.
It's crazy. She's crazy. He's nuts. That guy's insane. Like, is he literally insane or does he just a little bit wild? Like everybody's racist now. If you, 1, don't want to like beat up cops, and 2, like if you don't like, I saw somebody, a white person went on the streets. I think they were in LA or New York, and they had a Black Lives Matter poster. And it looked pretty professional. And they were going up to white people and they said that they work for Black Lives Matter. And in order to, and I'm paraphrasing what I saw, but it was a social experiment. They walk up to this white woman and they're like, what I need you to do to show that you stand with black people and show that you care, I need you to get on your knees right now on the sidewalk and repent, basically. And this woman's got tears welling up and she's like, I'm so sorry. And the guy's like harder, like try harder. And he's just messing with her because he's not with any organization. He's just literally showing the stupidity. And this chick's like, I don't know what to say. Like, I haven't really done anything. I'm kind of, like I'm raising a couple. This is, again, my version of it. But like, somebody that's truly a racist would say, get away from me. You know what I'm saying? It's
like, what are they going to repent for? What did they do?
Right.
What have they done?
Right. I had a gentleman on the phone the other day, another man of color, and he told me, and this guy's kind of a famous dude. He said, and I quote, I can't say his name because he will get in trouble. He said that black people he knows are way more racist than all the white people he knows. I'm like, cool, man. Say that when you're on the podcast. He's like, I can't. My business will go down the toilet. And that's his version of reality. But it's like we've gotten to a point where we can't even talk anymore.
You can't. I've been saying stuff. I've been saying something about, all the issues that are going on in Chicago for the past year.
You just posted the 83 deaths the other day,
right?
Or the week.
The past year, and then I mentioned something about, just the shootings that's been going on and the deaths that's been going on, and nobody. Well, very few. I'll take it back. Very few people have mentioned anything about it or said anything about it.
I'm going to look up those current stats while you're talking. Keep going.
And just recently, there's been a couple of posts that popped up on Facebook about it. And it's like, and I'm just like thinking to myself, oh, now you want to say something about it. Now you want to start posting something about it. And it's like, this stuff has been going on for I don't know how long. Why are you?
Your point in bringing it up is just that it's some people look at this and they say it's a phallical argument. It's not germane to what's going on in the world, but you're saying it is.
Right. Yeah. It's this stuff is, people are being killed constantly.
Yeah.
Over what?
I have a friend that ran security. There's a neighborhood in the city that is so bad. It's a housing project. It's not a project. It's like a low income housing apartment complex. I think that maybe there's 1,000 apartment units in there. It's so crime ridden that the city told them they need to get some private security there because the city would just have to have like 10 cops there every day. So this buddy of mine's private security company started doing security there. And, they're in the city, so cops are there every day getting called. But the stories he would tell me, like these guys that live there, and forget about color, just humans interacting with other humans. Shootout happened. A girl with her baby in a stroller, her and the kid got shot, just walking from their car to their apartment, just in the crossfire, stuff like that. Like, why is that? Nobody knows that story because nobody gives a shit. When the cops go or the security people went and chased them, these dudes had 5-gallon pails of like motor oil that they would pour down the stairs, like booby traps, like come get me, rapper, dump it down the stairs. So now the stairs are all slick. And 5-gallon pails of human shit that they would whip down the stairs at them. Like this is in a neighborhood in one of the most prolific cities in the world. Like this happens. What you're talking about, I think you probably follow the website heyjackass.com. Is that where you get that information?
No.
That you should check that out. It's a I think he was a Chicago copper. So this guy tallies all of the crime in Chicago. So May, 79 shot and killed, 314 shot and wounded. So total people shot in Chicago in the month of May was 393 people. 83 homicides. So somebody might have got stabbed or something. This week alone, we're at 144 people shot in Chicago. 117 wounded, 27 people, or 29 total homicides. It's staggering. It's June, and there has so far year to date been 1,029 people shot or wounded in Chicago in 256 homicides. 236 people shot and killed. It's been a pretty violent year, but I think it's less than in years past. My father tracks this because he's interested in that stuff in the city, but people you get numb to it. You get numb to it. I'm not suggesting that there's not police. You got family that's coppers. I'm sure you've talked about this with them. I tell people we have the police departments that we elect, that we work for. Our sheriffs are elected, our city councils are elected, our state government's elected. From federal down, we elected the people that put those PDs together and agencies. You know?
We definitely need them.
We do, but now there are going to be some sweeping reforms.
Which means if there's less police and sheriffs out on the road, going to come to your help when you start calling for them.
Well, that's so like we're probably going to have some system-wide changes in the United States, which is pretty interesting to think about.
Yeah, well, that's why I like living out in the country.
I like living in the country too. Now, interesting, your state, talking about racism, is like, I believe, the home of the Ku Klux Klan. Was it not? Did that not start in Indiana?
I think it has. I think it has.
I think it
I do
did.
believe. I think I heard something about that.
I just am Googling this, and I'm Googling KKK started, and I was trying to stay started where, and Google wrote or populated, which this must be a thing, KKK starter kit and KKK starter pack. You know, get your white robe and a rebel flag for your pickup truck for 1995.
Yeah, I think they had I think last year they had a rally down in Indy.
Oh, it was founded in Pulaski, Tennessee. My apologies. My apologies. Keep going.
From what I remember, they had a rally down in Indy last year. Don't quote me on it, but it was really small, and it got super swarmed by everybody else that did not want them there. So
it's insanity. You know, you talked about Pop raised you to respect others. My parents did too. I was a shithead young man, probably very much unlike you, but I still say yes or no, sir, to adults, and call women miss and ma'am, even though they don't like it. Oh, I don't want to be a ma'am. You know, no, women don't like that. It's pretty easy to just be kind to people. I was thinking about it this morning. I'm out for a walk with my dog, and I've had family members scream at me in the last couple of weeks because I don't get on my knees and start crying for my sins against people of color. And it's like, I will not do that. Like, because I haven't done anything. Like, that is just the most moronic thing. That would be like me apologizing for burning a building down that I did not burn down. It's just, it's unequivocal. That is insanity, actually. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't see why. Why? I mean, unless you actually did something to somebody, I don't see why you would need to.
It's nuts, man. I don't know where all of this is going, but I do know, and I'm talking over you, like basic communication skills. If somebody feels a certain way, they have not only a right to feel that way, but there's probably some reason that they feel that way. Like if you told me, Mick, you hurt me emotionally when we were together, I'd be like, screw you, man. What are you talking about? You'd be like, well, let me explain. And I was like, I don't want to hear it. There's a reason that you feel that way, even if I don't think it's valid. And I could tell you, oh, bro, you totally misunderstood me. I was just a joke. And then you say, well, it wasn't funny. It hurt me. Like, you have a reason to feel that way. So I get where a lot of people are coming from, but like you said, where you're at, we have a pretty sizable population here of Hispanics and blacks. I don't see it, man. I don't, like, the other day there was a march on our town square. The town I live in is where the movie Groundhog Day was filmed.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful town square is my town square. And in the center of that square is two monuments. One is to Civil War and one is to the First World War. Beautiful monuments. And people from this town fought in the Civil War, etc. So it's a beautiful spot. There was a march there. So I'm like, I'm going to go check it out. A bunch of my copper buddies will be up there. I wasn't going there to be like backup. I just want to go see what's going on in my town. So I went and parked my truck. And now with COVID ending, like in Illinois, they're allowing eating outside restaurants. So a friend of mine has a restaurant there. I thought I'll go grab a beer and a burger or something and kind of watch what's happening. So there's a couple of friends there, and hundreds of people came, mostly white kids dressed in black, Black Lives Matter and all that kind of signage. And at the bar where I'm sitting, this patio, there's a group of dudes that I recognize from town, black guys, and they're making fun of all these white kids. And I'm laughing, listening to them, because every time more of these kids would walk onto the square, they had to walk past us. They'd be like one of them said, these kids didn't know how to take it. These guys were busting their nuts because these kids literally were trying to be helpful, but they're basically saying, like, you idiots have no idea what you're protesting. You have no idea why you're here. And you only give a shit because, like, the world's on fire was basically what they were saying. And these kids were like, why are you not hugging me? Because I'm here for you. And these guys are just like, screw you, go walk in a circle and scream. And of course, that's just those guys. There may be
Right.
some other people in town that would say thanks, to these youngsters for being out there.
Yeah, well, they don't know why they're out there.
Would you march? Have you been marching? Have you been burning anything? Did you smash any windows?
I haven't been out.
Did you get yourself a new TV?
No, I got more than enough TVs that I need. I've been working. Well, not working, but I've been helping my friend do some electrical work.
Okay. All right. So you're staying out of the trouble.
Yeah, staying out of trouble. I just let them do what they want to do.
Letting Rome burn down around you while you're doing electrical work.
I'll let them go out there, and they're not really doing too much out here. The town that I'm in, they protest, but it's a really small group, and they just laid on the ground, and that was it.
Your father's still alive?
He is.
Have you talked to him about all of this?
I haven't.
No.
No.
Mom, brothers, the coppers in your.
My mom's passed away.
Okay.
My brother is in San Antonio.
He's a cop there?
He is. My oldest brother's a sheriff in San Antonio. And then my middle brother was in the Air Force, and he's not anymore. He's working right now. I talked to him quite a bit.
What's their take on all this business?
They're same thing. They're just pretty much watching everything burn down around them.
Wondering why.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you're a leader. There's a lot of people that are young men out there. And what I'm taking from you is your life experience has given you a different outlook on the world. Cool. My life experience has given me a different outlook than many on the world. What do you say to all the people listening that just from your perspective, because that's all that you can give, like what should they be thinking about? What should they be looking at? What information should they be weighing and analyzing? Should they bow down and apologize to you or other people of color? Just like, what are your 2 cents on it? Lay it out there. You don't work for the government. You can say whatever you know.
Everybody's got their thought of what they feel as if they should be doing. You know, listen to yourself. Don't listen to others. Don't let people tell you what to do. You know, you have the ability to think for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people, I used to always tell people in the military, there's 3 types of people in the military. There's people that make things happen, there's people that watch things happen, and there's people that wonder what the happened.
Yeah.
You know, who are you going to be in your career? That's totally up to you. You know, but it's, you know, you're not responsible to anybody else except for yourself. You're the one that makes yourself successful, nobody else. If you want to be successful, you have the drive and the motivation to be successful.
Now, wait a second. Our last president, who I have respect for, but wasn't my favorite, he said something along the lines of, we didn't do it. Remember his speech on that? Like, you didn't build that. Like, the government built that for you. Remember that whole speech Obama did?
Mm-mm.
No, you must have been out to sea. He basically was telling like business owners and entrepreneurs, you didn't build all that. It was this framework of government and this society allowed you to do it. And it was taken out of context. But I agree with you. Everything we have, man, besides the fact that we have life and like you were born into a good family that gave you good thought processing skills and respect. I was as well. Not everybody has that, but then you have the choice to create new thought processes and new techniques and new plans, so to speak.
Nothing spawns up out of nothing. You know, you got to do it. Somebody's got to do it.
Nothing spawns from nothing. I agree with that. And I also like this: anger begets more anger, and fear begets more fear, and racism begets more racism. But then conversely, love begets more love, and kindness begets more kindness. You're just so thoughtful, pondering. You're like,
Yeah, I used when I first joined the military, I used to be really, 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 really angry about a lot of stuff.
Like what?
And just angry with everything. But
give me an example.
Just
everything is a broad term. Like, this breakfast sucks.
Just with I guess with life, but it's like.
Why? What were you upset about? Were you forced to join the Navy?
No,
so
I wasn't forced.
You had some young boyhood angst.
It's just, I think I was just, I don't know. Everything was just like, I just want to.
I don't know what that means. You have to be more specific.
It's just a feeling that I had, but
So you'd look in the mirror and just go, eh. Eh.
Yeah.
What did that mean though? Like, what were you? So you had a good upbringing. Was it that you wanted more and didn't know how to get it? I think I can kind of understand what you're saying. I remember being a young guy and feeling like there was something, but I couldn't identify it on a map, like where to go.
I think it was because I was probably chasing money all the time, always wanting to have stuff, always wanting to have.
Well, you picked a perfect job to make a lot of money.
I know, right? But when I got married and when my wife passed away, and watching my wife pass away, that really grounded me because I realized, life is so precious. And
that wasn't that long ago either, was it, Doug?
No, 2016.
Okay, I was going to say, I thought you told me about 5 years.
Yeah, it was right before I got out. And, after that, I realized, shortly before that, when my wife was going through cancer treatments, that was like totally set me back on just realizing that, you know, you can't be so upset with everything, and you can't be so just pissed off at life and pissed off at everybody all the time.
You never struck me as pissed off guy, but I must have met you after you've become happier.
Yeah, I just, you know, I'm just like really relaxed and I guess chillax all the time now.
Smoke a lot of weed, do you?
Oh, I don't.
I bet you do.
No, I don't.
I'm just kidding, bro.
I don't smoke weed or nothing.
You don't even drink, do you?
I do drink.
You drink like those cider drinks.
Mm-hmm.
You do, don't you? I thought I remember that. I always remember when dudes drink weird stuff. I'll take a mimosa. Like we're at a ball game, you know. Mm-hmm. You're the mimosa guy.
Yeah, people are just
make it a double.
People are just so uptight with, you know, materialistic things these days. It's just unbelievable. Everybody's got to have the newest, nicest thing these days, and
you think that's new?
No, it's not new. It's just that's why I'm not working right now, because you know, I went to the was it about last year? I met a couple at the gun range. I went to the gun range to go shooting, and I was there for maybe an hour. And I met this couple that was there, two really nice older gentlemen, and they were in their, I want to say they were in their 70s.
Okay.
76, 77. And I was talking to them, and they had a business, and they were refurbishing houses. They had houses, and they had a couple that were rented out. And they were talking about, oh, we got to hurry up, and we got to get, you know, shoot a couple of targets, and we got to get out of here because we got to go and work on these houses that we got renters in. And the wife was like, oh no, we can wait. And the husband was like, no, we got to hurry up and go because we, you know, they're complaining about this. And I'm like, really? So I started talking to them, and, you know, they asked me, what did I do? And I said, well, you know, I just retired out of the military. And they go, really? And I go, yeah. She goes, how old are you? And I'm like, well, I'm, you know, 47, coming up on 48 years old. You're that young? You're retired? So yeah. And they go, wow, I wish we can retire as young as you are. And I go, really? I say, if you don't mind me asking, how old are y'all? And she goes, oh, you know, I'm 56 and you know, my wife is 54. And I go,
and you're like, wow, they just trash themselves, huh?
I'm like, wow, you all look like you're almost 80 years old.
Of course you didn't say that, but
no. But I mean, they look worn out.
Rode hard and put away wet.
And I'm like, man. So I talked to them for about a good, you know, 2 hours afterwards. And they were like, you know, came to their senses about, you know, just needing to dump. Well, I hope they didn't, but they just needed to, you know, they're just riding themselves into the grave with holding on to all the stuff and trying to chase money. And I mean, man, but yeah, I'm like, I just now, you know, I have my retirement can support me through what I'm doing now with my house and land and not having to work. And I'm going on 3 years now, not working. And I'm enjoying it.
Going shoot guns, going training. And you've got nice guns too. You got that little shorty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's nice. It's what you're talking about. Of course, just like other conversations, some people. I've got friends that are pushing 70. They owned the first bottled water company in the world. And they sold it and went into the bed and breakfast business. And they work like dogs. I mean, like dogs. But they love it. If they weren't, they come up with stuff to do. This guy will get a ladder out and start like scraping paint 40 feet up in the air because he saw like a bubble and spend the whole weekend like fixing. He's like, that's their thing. And then other people like you want to go jog and write poetry and play your piccolo. It's so weird that you picked up he doesn't play the piccolo. but I mean, these people though probably didn't save, right? Didn't make
Most
plans.
likely.
Yeah. You put your time in to get that back.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, man, I just did a video I put on Instagram this morning. Took my dog for a walk this morning. Been taking her early because her coat's so thick because I can't get her into the groomer. And as it gets warm, she just like cooks to death in the sun. So we're going for a walk, and I'm trying to be more mindful. I'm not playing on my phone. I'm controlling my breath. We're walking at a fast pace, jogging a little bit as fast as I can make her move because she's only a 20-pound dog. And I'm thinking, like, what do I really want? Like, what do I really want? Like, my wife and I live in a nice home. We've got nice things. I don't care about any of the things I have. You know, like, I don't need another TV. I need less stuff because now all the stuff I've accumulated stresses me out. Because, like, even morbidly, when I die, somebody's got to deal with all this stuff. And more stuff requires more money. You know, I bought a cheap motorcycle a couple years ago. Now I got to maintain that and put insurance on it. I'm not complaining. I mean, there is a give and take, but it's none of the things that, or as we go through life, this was the point I was making. Sometimes we think stuff will make us happy, then we find out stuff doesn't. But you kind of have to pivot and adapt and find out what it is that you're really digging for. Sounds like you've got it.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
I would say I'm 75% happy. I'm still trying to figure out where I'm at in life. Because of my sudden
you're in your office.
Well, yeah, I mean, I love where I'm at. It's just I just had a sudden hiccup in life when it came to my wife passing away.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I had a set plan and a set goal already set, you know, in my life. And then that kind of life threw me a curveball. So now I have to refocus and change everything and get my life on a different path.
But you're doing it.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But it's, have you ever woke up and thought to yourself, this isn't the life that you thought you were going to have?
Talking Heads? How did I get here? Like that?
I don't listen to the Talking Heads, but you know that.
You know the song.
No, I don't. I don't listen to the Talking Heads.
This is old, man. You've heard this song 1,000 times.
I probably heard it, but
yeah. How did I get here? Where's this beautiful house from? Whose car is that? Literally, they're like, they grew up and they're like, what is all this? So have I ever woke up and thought like, this isn't the life? As a young man, I didn't really know what I wanted. Mm-hmm. I chased a lot of things around trying to fill voids or find who I was. I wanted to be a dad, wanted to be a family guy, but I made a lot of stupid decisions that made that uncomfortable for people, you know, family included. But yeah, sure. I'm the kind of person where when I don't like something, I change it pretty darn quick, though. You know, if I'm feeling fat, I put the popsicle down or whatever and go jump rope. If I'm not happy with the organization that I've been working with, I type an email and cut ties. You know what I'm saying? I don't spend a lot of time digging myself deeper into a hole of nowhere.
Speaking of fat, you still have that video from the gun range? Yeah.
Of course I do. You want me to put Drew to edit a clip in here? Why, have you lost a bunch of weight from then?
I did.
How much?
I think I lost 20, 25 pounds, and then I gained some back, and then I lost some more.
So how far down are you from last year?
Oh my gosh, I haven't weighed myself, but last time I weighed myself, I was at 212, but I think I put some more weight back on.
So what do you think, you were like 240, 235?
Yeah, at least.
Last time
Pushing.
I saw you?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I remember my legs weren't moving that quick. I felt like it, but I don't think my legs felt like it.
Whatever, man. You kicked ass running around that range. What did you do to lose the weight? You said you were jogging. What else did you do?
Just jogging. I was doing a ton of burpees, which
Every
was
day?
horrible. Yeah.
How many?
Well, I started off with 30 burpees in 30 days, and
So
then
30 burpees every day
every day
for
for 30 days.
Okay, that's pretty minuscule, but that's still calorie burning. Yeah.
Yep. And then
So like you get up and knock out 30, or did you just like have like a set time that you would do them?
a set time. And then after the 30 days, I would go out, I would do 10 burpees, and then I'll run 1.5 to 2 miles, come back.
Okay.
And then I would try to finish off with 10 burpees. And if I couldn't do 10 burpees, I just do 10 push-ups.
Those are smokers.
I do that 3 times a week.
When I first saw you in Indiana a year or two ago, whenever that was, when we came and did that gig down in, what town was that?
Terre Haute.
Terre Haute. Yes, thank you. Where that restaurant was badass, by the way, that steak joint we went to. I would drive down there just to have supper there. I was on a kick. A friend of mine, Cecil Birch, had got me going on, and I was trying to do 100 every morning, like before I got dressed. And I was doing it. So I was doing it there on the deck at the Airbnb. And like when he told me that, it was like, yeah, whatever. I knock 100 burpees out. And then 13, 14. But I felt great. I need to get back to that. I need to get back doing that because it's such an explosive movement, and I think I was maybe overdoing them where I was launching into the air as far as I could, and you burn your muscles up too quick doing that. But yeah, it's a great exercise.
Yeah, it was. The first 30, the first like 3 or 4 days sucked. And then after that, they were pretty good. And then after my 30 days, they were like really easy.
You're just burning calories. So now did you change anything in your diet?
No.
That's cool. That's cool to know that, because some people are like, oh, I don't want to lose weight, but I don't want to starve to death. So you didn't change anything in your diet. You just added in some calorie burning. Just running and burpees, and that's all I changed. So you're talking like an hour or less a day of exercise.
Right. And stay away from sodas.
Yeah, I don't drink pop. That's poison. I do like me a good IPA or 6.
Oh, I can't drink beer.
It makes you bloated, give you gas.
Taste.
Oh, it's just kind of a man, are you? Oh, it tastes disgusting. 2 mimosas. Oh, they're both for me. I don't want to make you come back twice. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, it takes all kinds. I mean, there's some dudes out there that don't like beer, whatever. This is a good spot for a joke that's not fit for recording. You got to get your butt up here, and we were going to record in person here, and then I don't remember what the heck happened. Why didn't you come? Something happened though, because we were going to do it. I don't know.
COVID-19.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
No, we had scheduled for you to come up here. You were going to stay for the weekend, and we were going to record and do some shooting and stuff. We'll have to do it again. You should come. Get it on the calendar. Folks listening, parting words from a man who's lived many lives and been around the globe. Parting words for young men and old on some things that might be of use to them on their journey.
Stay safe. Be true to yourself. That's about it.
That's it. That's all you got. A man that's
simple.
Simple's oftentimes the best. I appreciate it. You guys listening, hope you enjoyed our somewhat meandering conversation between friends, but I know there was a bunch of nuggets of truth in there from Mr. Douglas Howard, retired senior chief, U.S. Navy. I don't know what I'm going to title this podcast, but I'm going to think about it. Today is the 5th of June, Tell somebody you love them. Don't be dickheads. Buy Gunfighter Gun Oil at CarryTrainer.com, and you can order yourself up some Armored Coffee, which is from Indiana. I think you bought some before. Did you? Yeah, it's from Indiana. ArmoredCoffeeCompany.com. There's an ArmoredCoffee.com. Did you like it?
My girlfriend drinks it.
Do you like it?
I don't drink coffee.
You don't drink. Do you have any juice? Do you have a juice box? On that note, you guys be well. Don't be dickheads. Go hug somebody. I think that's maybe the best thing we can do today. Thanks, Mr. Howard.
You're welcome.
Visit our website, CarryTrainer.com, for information about classes held throughout the U.S., CarryTrainer apparel, and upcoming projects. You can also email us at training@CarryTrainer.com for information about setting up your own private course or speaking engagement. Training@CarryTrainer.com or CarryTrainer.com.